Good morning to all Arsenal fans across the world. Good morning. It is an unbelievable day, and I thought, we can all talk about all the celebrations and everything, but I think the thing that makes this Premier League victory the sweetest is probably the difficulties that we've gone through over the last 20 years of so much. They say the hope that kills you, and I think as Arsenal fans over the last 20 years, the hope has killed us probably the most, and our performance against expectation and the big moments where we've fallen short in the last 20 years, have made this even sweeter because we've been wanting it so much. I just want to think about my personal Arsenal journey. I remember I started supporting Arsenal in about 2006. So my earliest memory is the Champions League final. That was, a sign of things to come for the next 20 years. We go 1-0 up. The expectation from there is we might win it. We get late. Well, Lehmann was sent off before. Sol Campbell puts us ahead. There's a couple of chances for Henry. And then Barcelona scored twice, with one of them being an offside goal. And that was sort of a sign for the next 20 years. I remember our run in 2008, our Premier League run in 2008, where we were top at Christmas by about, I can't remember how many points, but it was a pretty big gap. Eduardo, and for one of the probably my favourite, that is probably that 2008 Arsenal team is probably my favourite Arsenal team. Some fantastic players in there. And I remember Eduardo da Silva, who having his ankle broken against Birmingham away. We lose that game, or we drop points. I can't remember exactly what happened. You remember Gallas on the floor, and from there we capitulated. Then a few years later, steady finishings of fourth. I remember losing the Carling Cup final against Chelsea in Cardiff. Theo Walcott scored, and I think Drogba scored twice, and I think Wenger played the kids because they got us that far. Then we go to another Carling Cup final in 2013. 2011 against Birmingham again. Again being Birmingham, who ended our Premier League hopes in that 2008 season. We lose that game to incredible circumstances of errors. Of an error between Koscielny and Szczesny, and it was a heart-sinking, heart-dying moment. And I remember being in floods of tears for forever on that, and the abuse that as all Arsenal fans would have got in the time following it was absolutely unbelievable. Because I think at that point it was 10 years without closing in on 10 years without a trophy. We all remember the songs at that time. 10 years and you've won. Well, not only are those errors completely behind us now, those errors in big moments was an absolute staple of the Arsenal mid-era. And I don't want to bash that era, because I think Wenger, I fall in love with football. Wenger's my favourite manager of all time. His philosophy and his way of playing and everything like that deserves the utmost credit. He's the most intelligent, brilliant, composed and wise man. I listened to his interview the other day on Desert Island Discs of all things, and it was just fantastic. What he talks about is not only football related, but like life related, and a lot of the things he says are so important and helpful. And by the way, that was the sound of my hands together. To navigating the world. So, that era, it was just littered, unfortunately, with major problems, major issues. We didn't have the finances. I wish we would have. There were lots of good moments. I remember beating Barcelona 2-1 in the Champions League. And then things move on. And, we have steady Champions League, and things get even worse. We end up in the Europa League for a few seasons. Semi-final of the Europa League loss against Atletico Madrid. Another error from a defender. I think it was Mustafi. at the time who just completely dropped the ball. Or was it Koscielny? I think Koscielny as well, just falling over, slipping over. Sorry, I'm extremely bright now, but that will go away. So I'm awkwardly positioned. But what I want to say is like the Arteta era has been, it seems like he's been a totally rectified that situation. I want to talk about Arteta a bit, about what we've had to go through and what he's had to go through, what the strange things he's done and why he's done them. Because the great opponent at City are like, have everything they need. I'll go into it. I want to say, first of all, Man City have bottomless funds. This is a fact. I know they may not have spent they've spent just as much, if not more than us in the last 5 years. I know that over the last 5 years, we might have a similar expenditure on players. I don't quite know how the finances add up for the Haaland deal to be just 50 million. But that is another fact. And maybe some other finances tweaking, I don't know, on the City side. But the fact is, they have unlimited funds. And Arteta, and they have the best manager in world football. They plucked him out. They plucked Pep. And they said, look, this is our project. We've got everything you need. Come and join us. And then they become this formidable force. And obviously, it's not all about finances and all about, I think, Pep and the teams and the staff have to get everyone together to play to play for some of the most amazing football and to win the treble. There's a lot more going on than that. But you have to say, when you compare the wage bills of Arsenal and City, it is actually a big difference. So Arteta is fighting against a mighty opponent, and so therefore his teams and his tactical approaches, considering the players available, he has to be so fine-tuned on the margins. And the margins include things like coming out of your technical area by about a metre to slightly put off the opponent's winger if they're near Arteta, him coming out. It's ridiculous. But these tiny things he is so laser focused on, and that's what's needed to beat such a giant. The other thing I want to say is, the other margins, corners, obviously, set pieces. This is something that we've been able to master because we can get certain players to be able to make the most of those opportunities. And a large amount of that comes down to really, really hard work and fantastic technical ability of the players who are taking those corners. It's not just about brute force Stoke City stuff. I don't think we scored a long throw in this season. We aren't Stoke City, but I understand people calling us that. But there's a lot of technical ability that goes into some of those corners. It's not about physicality and lumping. There's a lot more. The other things that are margins that have made a difference and we laugh at are things like, I don't know, maybe this one's even too small, but calling the Labrador win. But that's a small decision inside the stadium, inside the training ground. There's a picture of the Premier League trophy that is dark inside the Arsenal training ground, and that the purpose of that was to be that when Arsenal win the trophy, the players see it every day as this dark, unlit Premier League trophy. When Arsenal win the trophy, they can light it up and it will be, lit. Those sort of things every day, walking past that in the training ground. Every day, seeing that and willing for it, thinking about it, that imagination when you look at it, picture in your head, I want that to be on at some point. All these small things, I think, certainly add up to the mentality and desperation and belief and want to win that, to push that extra mile and do what's needed to win a trophy, to win that major trophy that we have been desperate for. There's so many examples. I mean, we can talk about the olive tree in the garden, but that Arteta planted on the whatever. I mean, all these things now start feeling amazing as opposed to comical. I think also, and I have to say this, the Cronkies do deserve absolutely do deserve some plaudits. If you remember that Amazon documentary in that third season, there's that really pivotal. I mean, this moment now you look back on, and it is the biggest moment in Arsenal's recent history. When Arteta and Josh Kroenke are sitting in the canteen, I think Arteta just lost the fourth game in a row. And obviously there is so much against him. He's sitting there opposite Josh Kroenke, and you get an insight, first of all, of what Arteta's like around his staff. He's very humble. And I remember this as him as a player with in press conferences. He was shy. He was very shy. He was shy. And you can see it in some of his initial interviews for Arsenal, where he is kind of he's like he is shy, and he seems very much he's listening around him. He's listening to the people around him, and he in that moment you can see him like that, and that's what he must be around his staff, listening to everyone and really engaged with everyone. And there's a moment where Josh Kroenke says in this conversation, Josh Kroenke says, you've got to have people around you who can trust. The only people you can trust are in the room. And he's saying then and there, I trust you. I fully trust you. We're going to do this together. We're going to get through this. And that is a huge moment in Arsenal history now, because that conversation has led to this picking up the trophy for the first time, Premier League trophy for the first time in 20 years. And a major achievement against a Liverpool that spent 450 million, bought the best striker in the league, against a City that are on the 10th year of a project, and have God knows how much has been spent there. I understand they had new coaches. And just a quick word, because I want to get it in. Kolo Touré, I remember I really enjoyed him as a player. I think he might be a good person as well. But my God, I remember, and sorry, this is a massive tangent. In that, when we lost against City at the Etihad, Kolo Touré was going pretty celebrationary, over celebrationally. You have a history with Arsenal, mate. And I remember he brought Adebayor onto the pitch. Adebayor, for some reason, was at the game. No one remembers you. And you're on the pitch together with Kolo Touré. It's total disrespect. I think there has been reports that Arsenal were not happy with the celebrations of that City game. But we've fucking done it now. And, that is unbelievable that we have managed this. They thought they'd done that. There's been a mental journey for everyone involved. And so I want to say, come on, Arsenal. We're going into the Champions League. We picked that trophy up against all odds. Cherky's been doing the keepy uppies and the whatever. Haaland's doing the side eye and singing. And it's blown up in your face. Big time. Big time. Big time. And Arsenal, congratulations. We've done it. I can't believe it. I'll remember this day forever. And we move on now to the Champions League and we make history again. These players, I want to see what these players are going to be like now there's almost less pressure on the Champions League now. We've won the major trophy, but of course there isn't. But it just feels like maybe something will switch in those players as well. And I'm really excited for not just that game, but the seasons to come. But for now, we must enjoy this moment. Come on, Arsenal.